Hi there, Janet Fritz here for Galaxy Girl Creations. Welcome to my channel. Welcome to Stretch the Sketch, where we are taking a sketch and stretching it into a double page or larger size than 12 by 12 or a smaller size. This sketch is by Laura Whitaker, and I am going to stretch it to a double. As I mentioned, people playing along could be stretching it to or shrinking it to a smaller size as well. And we hope you find a lot of inspiration in our videos, so go and check out the playlist down below for everyone who is playing along with Stretch the Sketch this month. This is also a some assemblage required video, so I am using some stuff from the shop over at someassemblagerequired.com. I'm going to be using some wood veneer pieces from the fall release, and actually a couple of these pieces might be from last year's fall release, but I will link them down below if they are still available over in the shop in case you are interested in them. So this is a trip to the pumpkin patch that I did with the little guy I take care of, and this particular pumpkin patch has dinosaurs at it, and he absolutely loves dinosaurs. He also loves tractors, and they do have a cow train that is pulled by a tractor, as well as a hayride that is pulled by a tractor. So we basically went there for those things. We didn't really get pumpkins. He's a little bit on the young side to be decorating pumpkins, or at least with me, that's something that he would do with his family when his sisters are decorating the pumpkins. So yeah, we didn't buy any pumpkins. We just did the simple rides and enjoyed the pumpkin patch for those different activities. So he had a lot of fun, and there was a lot of repetitive ride tractor, and he really enjoyed it. And so I wanted to document that for him. I do these albums for the kids I take care of because that is my gift to them. And so I wanted to make sure I documented this time that we got to spend together. I do sometimes document his family with that activities, not just things I do with him, but today's video, I'm just documenting something that I did with him. So I have my photos that I have printed on my selfie, and I've got some that are 3x4 and then some that are 4x6. Well, slightly smaller than those two sizes because it doesn't print a true 4x6. And then I've gone ahead and cut them apart, leaving a little bit of a white border on them, trying to figure out how I want to do this because I have a lot more photos than what is in the sketch up there. So I printed one of the left-hand page in the larger size of photos, and then I have three smaller vertical or portrait oriented photos, and liking how that's looking. And then I am stacking up my three landscape 3x4s to create a column, and then I'm going to create my two 4x6s or nearly 4x6s next to it. So I'm going to have to kind of figure out how to use my banner pieces hanging down below and figure that out. There's a lot of paper layers going on in this sketch, and so I'm just layering up my papers as best as I can and trying to figure that out. I only had one sheet of that green paper, but I wanted to bring in a little bit of the depth of color since there is quite a bit of depth of color in the photos, and then wanted it to feel a little bit more fall and give a bit of a nod to the earthy tones, bringing in that green for the foliage that would be represented in fall. And then now I'm cutting strips of the blue and this grid style paper to create my banner pieces. I've just cut them to be about 2.5 or 2.25 inches wide, and I just kept them the full 12 by 12 length, and then did my little fishtail banner at the bottom after I folded them in half. So I'm really cutting two at a time, and then I'm cutting them in half again, if that makes any sense. So they're folded in half long ways. I cut my fishtail and then open them up and cut them in half. So the fishtails, I didn't have to cut every single one individually. I also did use my distress tool from some assemblage required to distress a lot of my papers to give it lots of texture. I really like it with the fall layers that I've got going on here. And the tool that MK has here is just amazing because it's got such deep grooves. It's really easy to do the distressing. And if you are someone who has arthritis in your hands or a hard time gripping the little tiny tools that they used to sell, this one is great because it's really easy to hold on to. So I'll put a link for that down below. I believe she has them available in the shop, in case you're interested in that. That was me just waving away the paper dandruff that is caused by the distressing of paper. So yeah, just waving it away, and after ruffling up all of my edges and making sure my surface is clean down below. It does take me a little while to do all of this distressing, so I didn't make you sit through every single bit of it because, like I said, it's very time consuming when you have this many paper layers. And I think the effect is totally worth it, and it brings a great texture without adding a lot of bulk to your layout. I did feel like I wanted a bit of differentiation between my layers, even more so than what the distressing brought to it. So I'm doing a sketchy line around all of my pieces, which actually takes quite a bit of time. I'm also at a retreat while I'm filming this, so a little bit of hand movement there while I am gesturing and talking to somebody sitting across from me. I'm not going to make you sit through all of these sketchy lines that I am creating, but my best recommendation is when you're doing those long ones to hold your wrist still and move your elbow and your shoulder, pulling it back towards your body, and that will give you pretty good results. They're not meant to be perfectly straight. I would have to get out a ruler if I was trying to do that. But given I have distressed edges on my paper, I don't think it's a big deal that they're wonky. It's kind of just adds to the effect, and I really like it. So I'm not, like I said, I'm not going to make you sit through all of it, but I wanted you to know my process and how I work. And it may not be everybody's process, but that is what works for me. Now, I also don't mind if my pen goes off of the page a little bit or off the paper a little bit when I'm doing those sketchy lines, especially with when the edges are distressed, because sometimes the distressing is kind of in a little further and my pen kept getting caught up in it, but that's okay because, again, I'm embracing the imperfection of it and I like the way that it ends up looking. So my green paper here, I'm not going to carry it across to the right-hand page because it's going to get covered by these additional layers, and I'm going to add this green paper vertically. But this polka dot paper, I am carrying it across to the left-hand page so that it feels more like a 2-page layout rather than a 2 12 by 12s that are complementary to each other. So I'm liking how that's looking, getting all my photos laid down. My banner pieces, I'm trying to figure out how wide I need the entire banner assembly to be to go behind my photos and to kind of tuck under that polka dot paper. I don't want it to stick out from the edges, and I don't want it to be the same width as the polka dot paper, but I also do want it to be visible from behind the 2 photos on the far right hand side. So I'm trying to figure that out. Oh, I guess, you know what? Maybe I'm putting them underneath the green paper, not the polka dot paper. But the same idea. I don't want it to be exactly as wide as the green paper. Just kind of playing around with the placement and getting that all lined up. And then I'm going to do the same for the left-hand side, trying to figure out how wide I want it with regard to that green paper on the left side. And then I am going to add another paper layer behind my photos on the left-hand page. Now, once I get them set up, I like to use my Nuvo Deluxe adhesive glue to get them all stuck together so I can move the whole assembly at one time. And then I did flip my whole paper over, as you can see here, and I'm cutting them apart where that polka dot piece of paper joined the 2 pages together. So once I get my banner assembly kind of figured out, I know I need to put another piece of paper over the top of it because I don't want them floating around behind my photos. I wanted to have a layer of paper covering the top of those banner papers. And so I'm adding this kind of, I think it's a houndstooth print. Um, and that paper and the polka dot paper are both from the same old, I think it's in my Mind's Eye collection. So they went really well together. Um, the plaid paper and the blue paper are actually from the same collection as well. And I think it was like a little boy's collection that was in some kind of paper stack ages ago. So here are the pieces that I'm going to be using from some Assemblage Required. I'm using 3 different packs today, but I'm not using all of the pieces from the packs. So I'm going to use the farm sign, but I'm not using the pumpkins from that one. I'm going to use the wagon with the pumpkins, and then I'm going to use the one that says pumpkin patch on it with the pumpkins at the bottom of the sign. And I really like how those are looking. I'm not going to add a whole bunch of other pumpkins to the page. I'm just going to kind of leave it simple, but I will be adding a little bit of green foliage behind my 3 little clusters there. And this is a die set that I borrowed from a friend at the crop, and I'm not actually sure where it's from or what company made it. So I can't give you that information, but I liked these leaves. They reminded me of the leaves on the top of a pumpkin or in a pumpkin patch. So I thought I'd use those. I did darken up the edges a little bit with some black Soot Distress ink that was left over on my black blending brush. I didn't really add anything to it. I just kind of left it at that. And then I gave myself a little bit of a journaling spot up here, up in the upper left-hand corner, so I could write a little bit about our day together. If you have wood veneer from MK, or if you're interested in that, they are adhesive backed, as you can see there. I'm just peeling the adhesive off the back so I can stick it down, and makes it really easy to finish out my layout. That's it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you have questions or comments, you can leave those down below. I really appreciate you spending time with me today. And don't forget to go check out everyone else playing along with Stretch the Sketch. Again, the link to the playlist is down below, so you can go and get lots of inspiration using today's sketch from Laura Whitaker. I'll see you guys again real soon with another video. Hit the like button if you enjoyed this one, and don't forget to subscribe.